Hello, and welcome to the Thyroid Warrior podcast. I'm Ebony, and I'm here as your wellness facilitator. I'm going to be sharing my experiences in managing Hashimoto's disease. I really hope that it'll help you on your personal journey. Keep in mind, however, this does not substitute for medical advice. It is only for your information and motivational purposes only. Now, let's get started. Hello, everyone. I am so excited about today's very special guest on the podcast. And I want to introduce you all to a very special treat of a friend, and her name is Devon. And we are going to continue the series of really talking about our self-worth and truth, and really and truly just working on how we talk to ourselves and how we work on just kind of letting go of that negative self-talk and really working on advocating for ourselves and just finding that group or that person that gets you. So Devon, thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to talk to you today.
Thank you for having me. This is a pleasure.
Yes. So go ahead and just tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
All right. Well, I am a certified personal trainer, but before I became a trainer, I grew up playing all the sports. So I loved movement, sports. I was a Division I athlete. I played softball at the University of Buffalo. And actually my junior year, I had a back injury, which medically disqualified me. And I started doing physical therapy and just reflecting on how I got the injury, which was improper form while weightlifting. Mm-hmm. And after I graduated from college, I had an opportunity to become a personal trainer, and I took it and I ran with it. And from that day, I decided I want to teach other people how to lift properly, learn what their body can and can't do. You can lift all the weight in the world, but if you hurt yourself, you get nowhere. So that was in 2015 when I became a certified personal trainer. I've had the opportunity to work from commercial gyms, private clubs, working on a cruise ship fitness center. And now I'm currently working at the Synod Office Fitness Center in Washington, D.C.
Ooh, that's really exciting, especially the part about working at a fitness center on a cruise ship. Like, what?
It was an experience for sure. Everything you have ever heard about working on a cruise ship is absolutely true. So I wouldn't do it again, but I met some awesome people and I learned so much, and I got to train in London. So it was quite the experience.
Ooh, yeah, I can't stay vertical on cruise ships. So I went on.
Probably not the job for you.
No, I went on one cruise and everyone laughed at me because I guess I couldn't get my sea legs. So I was just like, no. Like I literally walked down the hall like a drunk person pretty much the entire time. I wasn't nauseous or anything like that.
You fit right in.
Yeah. I mean, no one else could tell what was going on, but I was like, I'm just going to sit down. Yeah. Large bodies of water and me don't get along, but I digress. Yeah. So I really want us to just have a conversation about just what goes on behind closed doors with our thoughts, and really how we really aren't really kind to ourselves. And as you know, with my audience having an autoimmune disease, being injured, having a thyroid condition, gaining weight, losing weight, having a lot of issues with body image, and then we're often looking at social media or what we see on mainstream TV, and everyone's like, yes, you should be that girl, or you should be that guy or that person. And it's just so hard. And I really wanted to spend just a lot of time walking through that and just building folks up, because for me, I've gone through a lot of that. Like for a lot of people, I wasn't big enough. So I was basically told, like, you don't get to complain. But 40-pound weight gain is 40-pound weight gain. And, just because I carried it differently because I'm taller doesn't mean that it didn't make me uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. So it was just so many things that I thought through, and then like rapidly losing the weight. So I wanted to know if you could kind of talk about just some things that either you struggle with or just like how you've come across that whole like negative body image and body image issues, especially as a personal trainer and even as yourself, like, what have you come across?
Yeah, I mean, that is such a big issue and such a loaded question. But I actually just started my own business, Bloom by Dev. And one of the missions that I have that I'm very passionate about is helping women find their worth and their identity in God. Because with the world today, society is telling us that our worth is based on the scale. It's based on our clothing size. It's based on our relationship status or our material possessions. And it's so confusing because you can't win. Part of society says you need to be as skinny as possible. Other people say you need to be as fit as possible. So you really, truly can't win. You're either too fit, too skinny, too fat, too this, too that, too masculine, too feminine. Like, what I am learning is you really, truly need to love yourself and give yourself grace where you're at right now. Because let's face it, our bodies are going to change. They change year after year after year. So if our confidence is based in our body, watch out. We're in trouble. Because what happens when we get 30, 40, 50, have babies? Like, our body's naturally going to change. And obviously, as women, there's a lot of pressure from everybody. And I personally have struggled with a lot of negative self-talk and the body image and the thought that like, oh, I'm a personal trainer, so I need to be as fit as possible. Otherwise, I'm not a good personal trainer. And that lie of like, I'm not good enough, whatever it may be, or I'm not enough of this is so toxic. Mm-hmm. And it carries over into every part of your life. It affects your relationships. It affects your job. It affects your mood. So I have learned, especially over 2020, the year of COVID, when everything is stripped away and you're left with who you are, you have to love yourself. And so some of the things that I've been putting into practice that I have found has really helped me is the most important thing is, what do you surround yourself with? Who do you surround yourself with? If you are constantly scrolling Instagram, scrolling Facebook, comparing yourself to others, I know I personally compare myself to where I used to be. That's a very dangerous trap. So you really want to be cognizant. What are you feeding yourself? What are you telling yourself? Surround yourself with positive people who encourage you, keep you accountable, love you, speak truth to you. Honest truth. You definitely want to find the balance between honesty. Because if somebody's just telling you BS that's supposed to encourage you, but you know deep down that's not the truth, that doesn't help either. But it's very easy to find yourself surrounded by toxic people. And if you're surrounded by toxic people, you're going to be toxic yourself and it's not going to build you up. So community is so important. I'm a very visual person, so I use lots of Post-it notes. I love writing Bible verses, positive affirmations, encouragement, reminders. I post them all over my bathroom mirror, in my car, around my house. But the biggest thing is you have to stop those negative thoughts. The second those thoughts come in your brain, you need to combat them with safe thoughts and truths. And something I heard one time in a sermon or a podcast that I listened to was, think of your thoughts as a train. They come into the train station, but if they're not a positive thought, don't let them stop. Just keep them coming. Just let them go away because they don't belong there. And a way to really help you learn and train how to control your thoughts is meditation. Take 5 minutes a day to sit and be still, which is really hard for me because anybody who knows me, I always go, go, go. I hate sitting down. I don't like watching TV. I'm always going. But it's so important to slow down, sit in silence, meditate, gratefulness. Think of all the things you're grateful for. Gratefulness will definitely help combat all the things that you're frustrated about. Like, I wish I was skinnier. No, I'm grateful that I am healthy. I am alive. I am able. I wish I had a boyfriend. Well, I'm grateful that I have an apartment. I'm grateful for my friends. I'm grateful for my family. There's so many things you can be grateful for, and avoid the triggers. avoid those triggers as far as you can. So if people trigger you on Instagram or Facebook, delete them. If people in your life trigger you, I mean, I guess if they're family, you can't really delete them in your life, but watch those triggering people and try to avoid as much as you can to only have positivity in your life. I know it's hard, but just keep practicing and it'll get easier eventually. And I'm not perfect. I'm still practicing, but positive people, so important.
So I think there were so many things that you said that just made my heart shine and just feel so warm, because it is hard to avoid those toxic situations. And when you think about your net worth is determined by your net work. And if you're not surrounding yourself with people that aren't trying to build you up, what's the point? I had to learn this. Like, you don't need to always have opposition in order to like prove yourself or prove your worth or say like, I can do this and I'll show you how, and I'm strong and let me show you how big and bad I am. Like, you really don't have to do all that.
But isn't that the beauty of life, that we're constantly learning? Like, anybody who claims that they have it all together is off their rocker.
Run away. Run away. Fast.
They're probably worse off than everybody else.
Yes. Don't do it.
Don't believe it.
And even with that though, like, what are some of those ways that you've advocated for yourself when it comes to this, when it comes to if you have been depressed or you have struggled, like how has that worked for you?
Yeah. Well, a little bit of my backstory, as you know, Ebony, but we'll fill everybody else in. In 2016, I slowly started developing an eating disorder called orthorexia, which basically, for people who don't know what that is, it's less about the behaviors and it's more about the thoughts and anxiety and emotions around food. So I was all about the quote unquote clean foods, whole foods, nothing out of a package, nothing processed. So from the outside, it looked like I was just a super healthy, fit, lean personal trainer who had her stuff together. But inside, I was slowly dying. And after I got off of the cruise ship, I was unhealthily skinny. I was like 4.6% body fat, which for a woman is dangerous. I had to wear sweatshirts in Hawaii when it was 80, 90 degrees because I was cold. I had lost all empathy, all emotions, but I was in an environment where I didn't want to admit that I had a problem, even though I may have known I did. B, I didn't have, like we talked about, community. I didn't have people, friends, family around me to acknowledge how far I had gotten. So when I came home from the cruise ship, it only took my family about 2 weeks to realize that I had an issue. And I fought them for a little bit because I wasn't ready to give up that control. And I was in such a deep place. But once I did realize that I had a problem and I needed to get help, I went to the doctors, and that took a lot of strength to admit that I had an issue and I wanted to get help. And the doctor looked at me, and based off of my numbers and the quantitative information, my numbers, my BMIs, he said, I don't get what's the problem. You're healthy. Ooh. And yeah, sitting there in the doctor's office with tears down my face saying, I have a problem. I need help. He didn't get it. And it was in that moment that I realized you have to trust what people say. If people say they're depressed, if people say they have a problem, if people say that something's not right, you need to believe them because you never know. And so thankfully the doctor gave me the referral. I got the help. I'm on the road to recovery. I'm in a much, much, much better place. Still obviously have ways to go. Recovery is not easy. But I just want to encourage people, never give up fighting for yourself. No matter how many people tell you you're wrong, that just breaks my heart. Like, you know what you're feeling. You know what's going on in your head. You know what's not right. So fight for help. You are worth it. You are worth fighting for. So don't ever give up. Just keep on trying, keep looking for those people who will fight with you when you don't have the strength to fight. It literally gets me emotional thinking about it because I didn't have the strength to fight, but my family was that strength to get me started. And even just during COVID, a lot of those Ed thoughts came back and unfortunately took over, but thankfully God provided friends around me to walk through this hard time, feeling isolated in a new city during COVID. But I now have a team of support. I have counselors, I have nutritionists, I have coaches. Even coaches need coaches. Yep. And that's okay. It's seasons of life. And am I proud to admit that this is a hard season for me? No. But will I admit it? Yes. Because the power of vocalizing what you're going through takes the power away from you. But if you keep it inside, if you keep it hidden, that thing, whatever it may be, has the power over you. So tell somebody, fight for yourself. You are absolutely worth it. And don't let anybody tell you what you are feeling is illegitimate.
Drops the mic and walks away. But I think this is such an incredible message, and I'm trying very hard not to cry myself because I'm just so proud of you. And I know how hard you're working. I know how much you're trying. And you've taught me so much and how to be a better friend, because I want to be able to build you up and keep you strong when you don't think that you have the strength to do it. And I want to make sure that you don't have to think that no one loves you. And because that's a lie. That's a lie. It's a big lie. Yeah. And I think for folks that are listening, the biggest takeaway that I would say to Devon's point is just find that community. And that's why I'm always telling you guys, like, I'm here for you. If you reach out to me on Instagram, I reply back to you. Sometimes it might take me a little bit, but you know, it's hard feeling like you're alone. And when you have anything that you're struggling with and you don't have other people that get it, it feels so lonely.
Yeah.
And I'm just grateful that we were able to have this conversation. And I really want you guys to be able to combat those fears and lies with truth, because the world that we live in can just be so yucky sometimes. And I know some of you may be like, what does any of this have to do with the thyroid disease? A whole lot, because your entire self-esteem, self-worth, and so many things get challenged during this time, especially if you are in a relationship or if you do have children. And to Devon's point, like, our bodies change. And my aunt is currently struggling with thyroid issues right now. And I have a friend that's also struggling, and she's like, people just don't get it. And I want you guys to advocate for yourselves. It's why I have the Advocating for Yourself series. And if you're on my email list, you will get that recording and that information there for you as well. So it's just one of those things that's just so important for us. And by the way, you can go to joyfulebony.com/email so that you can get on my email list. But in the meantime, like, Devon, do you have any parting thoughts? How can we get in touch with you? Where do you hang out? Yeah. And, you know, we just want to be friends.
Absolutely. Before I do that, I do have one more thing that I would love to share if possible. Share. As you were talking about like the thyroid disease and all this stuff and struggling, I know one of the biggest lies that I had going into my eating disorder recovery was I didn't fit in. I had this lie that, like, wait a minute, I don't have these behaviors. I'm not this. I kind of fell in the middle. I wasn't healthy, but I wasn't so unhealthy. And Ed really tried to tell me that, like, you don't have a problem. You don't really fit in with the eating disorder. Like, you don't fall under there, but you're not healthy. You're just kind of in the middle. So I felt not good enough even for eating disorder recovery. So I just want to encourage anybody listening, like if they feel like they have a problem, but not enough to reach out, that is such a lie. Like, you deserve to live your best life to your fullest potential. So if something is preventing you or getting in the way from you living a free, healthy, satisfying, highest quality of life possible, then reach out for help. Go get that help, because life is meant to be lived, not just survived. Mm-hmm. So love yourself enough to reach out for help, because I know Ebony and I love you. So yes. And like Ebony said, if you'd like to connect with me, my Instagram is @bloombydev. And I would love to talk with you. Message me, DM me, give me a follow. I'll follow you back. But I just want to encourage you and love on you and equip you and help empower you guys to live your best life possible, no matter what you have to overcome.
So good. So yeah, you guys heard it. Devon is the bomb. And she definitely does love on you for sure.
I like having a good time too. So if you can make me laugh, that's a plus.
So that is all that we have for today, guys. Just know that, again, it does not matter what you're going through. Nothing is too big or too small, and you are enough, and you deserve love. You deserve to live a happy, healthy, and joyful life. And that's really what I'm here for, to encourage you to live by. And I want you to build that confidence. I want you to build that self-worth and speaking truths to yourself. So with that, friends, be happy, be whole, and be well. Take care. Okay, Thyroid Warriors, get out there and take things one step at a time. Remember, be great, reflect on your triumphs, and as always, be well. Take care.